Welcome to the President's Podcast with the Black Nurses Association of Greater St. Louis. You are listening live to your host, Dr. Leonora Muhammad, President of the BNA-STL.
And I'm your co-host, Mia Glover, Vice President of Black Nurses Association of Greater St. Louis.
Oh, yes. In today's session, which is season 2, session 3, and I entitled this, Are You Kidding me? I try to make that right. Because March is National Kidney Month. And so we're going to talk all about kidney disease and those diseases that have an effect on kidney function. So now this episode really hits close to home because I got family in the building today. My brother-in-law, Mario Reed. Yes. Let me give you a little background about Mario. Okay, Mario Reed is a correctional officer, also a professional natural bodybuilder, and a double transplant recipient. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 7, bodybuilder at the age of 19, and a kidney and pancreas transplant at the age of 43. And through it all, with the support of his family and his friends, he motivates inmates and officer trainees alike with empathy and positivity for life. Yes. Welcome to the show, bro.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. And
also, hold on, he's like the bionic man. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
We're going to get all into that.
Yes. I mean, that's pretty early. No excuses.
Hey, look, make me want to get in the gym, but we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. And also to help us discuss this, we have Dr. Reneta Sledge. She is Director of Research and Development at the Medical Education Institute, and she got a long bio, so I'm gonna keep it short. But she has graduated with her PhD from the Medical Family Therapy Program in the Department of Family and Community Medicine at St. Louis University School of Medicine. She has also works for the Director of Research and Development at Medical Education Institute, which is a nonprofit dedicated to helping people impacted by chronic diseases to learn and manage and improve their health. She's also a social work instructor at Fontbonne University and therapist in private practice, serving people affected with chronic and terminal health conditions. So welcome to the show, Dr. Sledge.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Yes, thank you. And so let's get right up into this. Mario, type 1 diabetic, bodybuilder, corrections officer, double transplant recipient. When most people hear this, they're going to be like, okay, now how do a bodybuilder in the greatest shape of his life become a diabetic and have to have a transplant at some point? So talk a little bit about your life and kind of what led up to you having to need a transplant.
Well, I was a diabetic since the age of 7 with juvenile diabetes. That's when it first started. But, as I started getting older and everything, at first when you have diabetes, you just like the regular kid. When you're a kid, you're eating junk food and you're not eating right, you're not doing right. And I was like, okay, I wanted to play college football. So I said college football wasn't going to do it. So I said, well, let me learn how to eat right. And that got me into bodybuilding. So I started working out at 16 and I started competing at the age of 19. So I had to change up my eating and all that stuff, but still I ate bad. I still ate bad a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when you that young at 7, like being diagnosed with diabetes, you don't even know what that meant. Like, did you even recognize what that was?
Right. I didn't have no clue. It was just like, okay, well, I got to take a shot. I was fine. Okay, let's do it. Let's take a shot. I'm fine. Take 2 shots. I'm fine. But the more I learned about it, the more the damage that I done when I was younger, that led me to say, hey, look, the kidneys wasn't working too good. You get what I'm saying? And it's a crazy story. I'm gonna give y'all a crazy story. I say about 2 months after my last competition in 2015, 2 months after, I get a call. I get a new kidney doctor, right? I go and check in with him. And next thing you know, my numbers were bad. Whatever it was bad. Everything was bad. And I was like, the damage was done like all those years from 7 to 43. You can only imagine what my body was going through. Even though it looked healthy on the outside, but on the inside, it was struggling. So I said, 43 years old, they told me I had to get on dialysis or whatever, you know what I mean? And,
oh, wow.
that was hard. That was a hard one there because, we didn't know anything about it. So we got Renata involved, we was asking questions about her and whatever. And I was like, hey, I'm not going to do all this, basically, but I had no choice,
Oh, so you was resistant. Like when you first found
a
out
little
about
bit.
it, you
Yeah,
really
I
didn't.
was crying. I was devastated, and then it came down to, okay, what kind of dialysis do you want? You want the shunt or do you want the peritoneal dialysis? And me, I was just staying who I am right now today. I just kept it positive. I said, well, I'm not gonna have this forever. This ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna be like that. So I chose the peritoneal where it was less visible, where no one can see it. And I say, what, 5 months later, I got a kidney, and it was amazing, and a pancreas. So,
oh wow,
I resisted so much, even doing all that, I resisted. Like when I mean resisted, when I came out of anesthesia, I wanted to fight everybody.
oh wow,
it affects people differently. And me,
yeah.
I just came out violent, and I don't know if that caused me to have to go back in and get another pancreas or whatever, or it was just bad. Everything was bad, or it went bad. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So I had to go back into surgery, and I didn't want to do it, but I looked at my family. I said, I have no choice. So
yeah. You know what? I remember that night, your brother, my husband, colleague, he said, Mario got he getting a transplant. His name got called. They called him. He got to go to the hospital immediately. And I remember that night. And I was like, oh my God, I was so happy that your name came up on the list. And we'll probably talk to Dr. Sledge about that a little bit, about, being on a transplant list and what that means. But, it's really a rarity to be able to not only get a kidney, but also a pancreas. So 2 things you were able to get transplanted at that time.
Yeah. But, I want to say this, though. In that process, though, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn, are you a fighter or are you a quitter? It's no, I'm both. You're not both. You're either one. It's just one. And I figured it out early. I was like, wow. I think about what my wife said to me before. She was like, man, all those times you was getting ready for those competitions, you was getting ready for this moment.
Wow.
It was true, because I'm like, hey, all the dieting you have to do, all the suffering you have to do, it still cannot compare to the pain that you have to go through in surgery.
Yeah.
Open up like that. It was the worst pain that I ever felt, and I'm like, anyone who gets a transplant or anyone had any kind of surgery, anything like that, I applaud them all, for real, because I'm like, what you got to go through is amazing. Women, y'all having babies, all that stuff, y'all just, or persons getting hurt, getting shot, and whatever it is, and they pull through it. It's just one of them things where you got to applaud these people and say, hey, you did it. That's a great job.
Wow.
That is an amazing path that you have already overcome. You definitely take your hand, reach it back. Okay. Okay. Do that thing. Yes, sir.
And something else, though, when I think about a lot of things, right, I sit back and, people wonder why I'm always positive and upbeat. I'm like, hey, man, let's switch places. You lay in that hospital bed and you watch your friends and your family walk away, and you're looking out a window and you wishing you can get up and go with them. You can't. I had to stay like months in the hospital.
Right.
And I think about that, and every day, I know this is bad to say, but if I go to sleep at 3 a.m, I'm jumping up at 7. Sorry, because I'm feeling like, hey, I don't want to miss anything. That's how I look at life, period. It's like I go to the gym early in the morning sometimes. Be like, hey, babe, you didn't sleep? Hey, man, I got time to sleep. I guess when I pass away, I can sleep.
Right.
And so, which is no time soon, thanks to new kidneys and pancreas.
Exactly. Shout out to the donors. Shout out to the donors.
I know, right? That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really good. So, Dr. Renata, education is key to lowering a lot of our changes in our body and developing kidney disease and managing it. Can you talk a bit to what you do in your current role and how you educate patients the right way to kind of prevent some of this?
Absolutely. So I'm a social worker by training, and worked in a dialysis center for several years before I ended up going back to school down a couple paths. And one of the things that I learned in the dialysis center once somebody already has end-stage kidney disease, managing themselves on dialysis is all about lifestyle. It's about what you eat, how you do your treatment, how you exercise, how you work, how you find joy, how you maintain relationships. One of the things that was really frustrating for me about that was we were talking about people already on dialysis, and like Mario's story demonstrates, he had, I can't do math, but like 40 years, 37 years or something like that of lifestyle that led him up until his kidneys were so damaged, right? And he was healthy. He made all these great healthy choices, but also struggled with his food early in the diagnosis. And so the challenge with kidney disease is teaching people how to manage their life, teaching people how to exercise, how to eat, how to manage their stress, how to communicate with their doctors, how to ask questions of their doctors, how to track their health, how to get their family in line to support them. So all of those kind of invisible work of living with kidney disease is what Medical Education Institute focuses on. So we focus on providing, actually mostly writing education for people. Everything we write is at the 5th grade level, and everything that we write is focused on self-management. What do you need to do to manage your health and to ask questions and to partner with the people around you, your family and your healthcare team, to be healthy?
Yeah. So can we back up just a little bit? Like, can you talk a little bit about the main risk factors for kidney disease? Because we got straight to the dialysis and then the transplant, but well, you know, what puts us at risk?
Yeah, so there are 5 main risk factors for us. The first is hypertension and diabetes. Those are the top 2 risk factors, and top 2 causes of chronic kidney disease and end-stage kidney disease. So generally, when people talk about kidney disease, they don't usually think about it until end stage, so dialysis or transplant. But there's many, many years of chronic kidney disease that happens before that with the diabetes and hypertension. If you have a history of heart disease, that puts you at risk for chronic kidney disease. If your doctor tells you that you're obese or you fall into that obesity criteria, weight criteria, that's at risk. And if you have a family history of chronic kidney disease.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
In addition, race is actually one of the primary risk factors for chronic kidney disease. And essentially it's non-white, Black, African-American, non-white, Hispanic, Asian American, all of Native American are all risk factors for chronic kidney disease as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. When you were naming off those risk factors, I'm thinking, whew, okay, in the African-American community, let's start with diabetes and high blood pressure, because we love to eat our soul food. We love to eat it. And we know that hypertension goes undiagnosed for a very long time for a lot of our population, because it's the, silent killer, to where, we like, oh, we got this little headache and no, it'll go away, but we never think to go and take our blood pressures, or the things that we eat, not really eating fresh foods, or, those quick meals, those quick Roman noodles, or, those quick sandwiches, or those processed meats that we really don't think about, that have a lot of sodium in there that may affect our kidney disease. So yeah, when you're naming off those risk factors, I'm like, okay, we got some work to do, right? We have some work to do in our community. So can you talk a little bit about how you test for kidney disease?
Yeah, so the tests for kidney disease are actually really easy and really non-invasive. It's a blood test. And the doctors look for 2 specific measures. One is called an estimated GFR, or eGFR, which gives information regarding the overall kidney function. And then there's a second part to that called the albumin creatinine ratio, or ACR. And that talks about how deep the kidney damage might be. And one of the things that we know is like 600,000 Missourians have chronic kidney disease, but only 60,000 of those have been tested, right? So that means 540,000 people in Missouri have not been tested for chronic kidney disease, but have chronic kidney disease. So what we're really trying to get people to do is to work with their primary care doctors to ask for those tests, ask for those measures so that they can take care of their health and prevent further heart disease.
Yeah. And that's why it's very important for patients when they see their primary care provider to really give that family history and that background of like what's been going on with their family so that the providers will know to run these simple tests. Mia is a nurse practitioner and practice with the patients in the community. So Mia, that's some of the things that you sometimes look for when you have patients that come in and give this type of history, right?
Oh, absolutely. You got to start with the basics. We really try to encourage people too, just to add on to that, to take control of their own lab work, watch for your own trends, and healthcare literacy is so important, so just to piggyback off of, kind of what you were saying there, Dr. Sledge.
Yeah. So Mario, life after transplant, right? So what do you have to do differently now that you have received, because you got the major blessing, to be able to get a kidney and a pancreas. So now what are you doing differently from before to help make sure that, you stay healthy?
It's going to come as a shock, as a big shock. Basically, I'm going to be honest, nothing. And when I say nothing, it's like how much water you should be able to drink or whatever, and how much you should drink. I was like, well, I drink 2 gallons a day, right? They was like, well, you can bring it down. You can bring it down. I was like, okay, that's cool. About a gallon. It's cool. But my food and what I eat, it's good. It's pretty decent. It's real decent. So it's like, it's nothing really changed. Nothing did. Even when I was a diabetic, to be honest with you, nothing changed. It was like I felt like I feel now. I was telling the wife, I was like, hey, babe, even though I got this, I still feel like me. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's hard to explain. And I know a lot of people won't believe it, but I'm like, hey, I was still going to the gym when I was on dialysis. I was going. It was like nothing didn't stop me. Like today, when I went in for my surgery, I weighed 210 pounds. Now I'm trying to lose weight. Today, I'm 220 pounds. Nothing changed. It's like I still feel the same. I still eat good. I eat pretty clean. I still go to the gym. I still do everything, I feel like I'm 18 years old, to be honest. I felt that way when I was a diabetic. So it's like, I can't lie. I can't say anything changed.
But it sounds like you did the work on the front end. It sounds like you did the work on the front end. When you recognized that you were going the wrong way, it sounds like you changed, and then the damage was already done. So then there was nothing else to change. You had already fixed it.
100% right. 100%. I'm talking about you are 100%. It was like when they told me I had to get, get the kidney and the pancreas, I was like, okay, we cool. We was ready. I was like, okay, I just did a competition or whatever. And I was like, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to do it. And I'm like, it wasn't going to change what I do and who I am. I wasn't like, I was really bad off. I wasn't like sick and you was like super noticeable, even though the wife said my color changed just a little bit.
She would know. She would know.
Yeah, she's the best knower.
And I was cool with it. I was like, well, that's cool. But, I'm
more like Drake or more like Wesley. Which one? Which way?
I went more like on Wesley's side. Yeah.
Got a little darker, huh?
Yeah, I got a little darker. When I look at it and I look back, that was probably the only slight change. How sometimes your skin and all that stuff would change, or you get that leather looking kind of look. I wasn't getting that, but I was looking just a tad bit different when I was on dialysis. But then after I got the kidney and the pancreas, it was like, I'm still cool. We cool. Everything went stayed cool.
Well, was your wife lathering you with shea butter? Was that what the trick or what? Because you can't be ashy.
No, she didn't.
What's she doing to shea butter? We need to know the ins and outs. We need to get down to it.
She wasn't.
I heard special guests in the back.
No, she didn't do that.
Yeah.
But, it's cool though. Everything right now is super cool. I'm here for my family, take care of my son, my daughter, my wife. I got my friends, got my other family. You know what I mean? I got all y'all. I just want people to know if you going through this and you have this, And if you got to get a transplant, get it done. You know, pay attention to everything, you know, like with yourself, you know, when you use the bathroom, if you got a lot of foam in your urine or whatever, you know, it's a problem. Get this stuff checked out. Quit ignoring these things, you know, because for years, I'm talking about for years, just like Renata said, for years, I noticed foam in my urine, but I was like, hey, no big deal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
putting it
No big
off.
deal. Yeah, because you feel healthy, but that didn't mean the insides were healthy. So, you know, anything that you see different with your body, be in tune with it. If you see something that don't look right, don't feel right, go get yourself checked out.
Wow. Yeah. And Dr. Renata, since you have a background in social work, talk a little bit about the social aspect of even like family members dealing with a patient that may be going through things like that. How do they help their loved ones get through something like that? Because it's tough.
Well, Mario's kind of given us lots of hints about it, right? He'll talk about my wife would do this, and then like my wife told me I've been training for this throughout all of it, right? The wife, the kids, the friends, the brother, the sister, you know, everybody in there is affected by chronic kidney disease. There might be the person living with the actual diagnosis, but everyone is living with the ripple effects of it. The diet that Mario lives by impacts the rest of the family, right? Because that impacts what groceries get purchased, what meals get prepared, what the house smells like when you eat salmon all the time. You know, like all of that impacts the family. And then there's the changes in the relationship, right? The caregiver who's worried about the decisions that you're making or not making, or the caregiver who has to take time off of work in order to go to doctor's appointments or be at the hospital, right? Everybody is impacted by the kidney disease. It's not just one person. And unfortunately, in the healthcare system, we tend to pay attention to the body instead of the person. And Mario has shared with us, kidney disease affects the person, and that means the relationships, the work, the kids, the parents, the life goals, the values. And it's not just a blood test. It's a lifestyle thing.
Absolutely.
Talked a little bit about the African-American community and how it affects us a little bit differently, because we really like our seasoned food, right? But and we've talked to the last, I guess, 2 guests about research in our community and really trying to increase our involvement in research, you know, in the Black community, because there's a huge need. Do you know of any research studies that are out there that we can encourage people to get involved in?
Yeah, so nephrology is actually a really interesting field and profession. The cost of chronic kidney disease, so 1% of the Medicare population has end-stage kidney disease, but it is 7% of the budget. With that said, what the federal government pays towards kidney disease is less than many, many, many other diseases. So there is not a lot of research being done, or at least funded by the government, for chronic kidney disease. There are manufacturers who are doing things to create like a wearable kidney. There are updates being made to home dialysis equipment and research being done in those areas to do that. So I don't know if the previous guests talked about going to the NIH website to look for healthcare trials that might be ongoing, that people might be eligible for, but that is the best place to go to look for at least federally funded research opportunities. With that said, though, I've been doing kidney disease research for the last 3 years, and over half of my participants in all of my studies are people of color.
Oh wow,
so,
great.
Yes, so I think because there is disproportionate representation of Black and African-American people who are receiving end-stage kidney disease diagnoses, so there are more people who are pursuing studies, but I think there is an activation that's happening within the system fighting for change right now.
Great. That is wonderful. And I'm glad, the other guests did not talk about the NIH website. So we absolutely will make sure that we share that information. And we're doing the work right now, which is educating people about the chronic kidney disease and talking to them about how a patient really manages that and goes through that process. So we actually starting to work right there, right here, right now. So
Exactly.
Thank you so much. This has been very educational. I'm happy I got my family on the podcast to talk about this because it is so important and so important to the African-American community to pay attention to these kidneys. We need them. We got two, but we can live with one, but we need two of them. So we got to do what we can do to make sure that we stay healthy in our community. So I thank you guys, Dr. Reneta, Mario Reed, for being on the show. Mia, talk to our listeners and tell them how they can get in contact. Oh, and I'll let you guys talk first. Anything that you want to put a plug out for to get in contact with you if they want more information, Dr. Reneta? Is there any way they can find you?
So if you want to email me, you can email me at rsledge, like the hammer, SLEDGE, at MEI.org. And then I would also encourage you to look at kidneyschool.org, which has lots of different modules and information about kidney disease and testing and questions to prepare when you go to talk to your doctor.
Perfect. And Mario, hey, what you got to say to the listeners? Last words.
Last word is, hey, just stay positive, people. Believe in yourself, believe in God, believe in your family, and the people who are around you, surround yourself with good people, because even though you're going through it, everyone else is too. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of people to get you through.
Yes, absolutely. And don't go to jail because then you'll see Mario
doing
the work as a correctional officer. So don't do that. We don't see him outside the streets.
And I got to give a shout out to my brother. I got to give a shout out to all my brothers and sisters and let them know, hey, we doing it. We love you. I love y'all. Hey, y'all my family, no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got your back, family. Mm-hmm. All right, Mia, talk to the nurses. Tell them where they can find the Black Nurses Association of Greater St. Louis. Oh, you on mute.
So my studio is also my home. So under the leadership of Dr. Leonora Muhammad, we are doing these types of things. The podcast is something that has taken off. And if you want to be a part of the Black Nurses Association of Greater St. Louis, we encourage you. We're building a space for nurses to come and grow and provide information to the community in so many ways. You can find us at www.bna-stlewis.org. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn at BNA Greater St. Louis, or you can find us in person at our chapter meetings every fourth Saturday of the month. At Chamberlain College of Nursing, or via Zoom, and that Zoom link you can find on our social media platforms.
Thank you. So like and subscribe to our YouTube channels, and all the nurses in the loop, please come out and join this wonderful organization. We out here, we doing stuff like this. We talking in the community and we need your help. So please find us on our social media and join us today. So thank you guys again for tuning in to the President's Podcast of the Black Nurses Association of Greater St. Louis. Tune in to us every second Wednesday of the month and on our YouTube channel and our social media and podcast anchors. So, thanks again to my guests today, and tune in next time because we are the pulse to all things nursing in the loop. Thank you. Bye.